You know, all over this country, we've been holding rallies. We have now spoken to more than 1.2 million Americans at rallies like this. And what it tells me is that here in Billings and here in Montana and all over this country, people are tired of establishment politics and establishment economics. People want real change. People want a political revolution. And what people understand, and this is really important stuff, is, you know, all of us love football and we love basketball and we love baseball. Democracy is different. Democracy is not a spectator sport in which we watch other people do something. Democracy means that each and every one of us in this room has the ability to transform this country. We are powerful people if we choose to use that power. And if we want to sit home and moan and groan and complain, oh, how terrible everything is, nothing is going to change. What this campaign is about is, yes, electing a president, but it is more than that. It is creating a political revolution to transform our country. Let me just say a few words about where we are politically, and then I want to talk about where we are as a nation. We began this campaign a little over a year ago. And when we began this campaign, all of the experts and the media and the pundits, they said, well, Bernie Sanders is a fringe candidate. Now, they said he combs his hair beautifully. He dresses fantastically. But despite all of those attributes, he's probably not going to become president. Well, a lot has happened in the last year. Last night, we won a great victory in West Virginia, and I want to thank the people of West Virginia. Week before, we won a great victory in Indiana. I want to thank the people of Indiana. We have now won victories in 19 states in this country. And we believe that in the next 5 weeks, including the Democratic primary here in Montana, we're going to win a lot of votes. Now, right now, having taken on virtually the entire Democratic establishment, that means senators and governors and congresspeople and mayors and all kinds of other functionaries. Despite all of that, guess what? We have won 45.5% of the pledged delegates. And if we can do really well, and it's not going to be easy, it is a steep climb, and I admit it, but if we can do really well in the next 8 contests, including Montana, we can end up with more pledged delegates, real delegates, delegates elected by the people, than Secretary Clinton. And then, in addition to that, we're going to have a long discussion with many of the superdelegates. Because I think it is a little bit strange and a little bit anti-democratic that Secretary Clinton received the support of some 450 superdelegates before anybody else got into the race. That's not democracy. That is the establishment defending its own interests. And I think it is a little bit weird that in states where we have won landslide victories, I mean landslide, 75% of the vote, you have superdelegates from those states rejecting the views of their constituents voting for Secretary Clinton. Last night in West Virginia, just as one example, we beat Secretary Clinton by 15 points. We got a lot of the pledged delegates, a fair proportion, and yet 6 out of the 7 superdelegates, despite the fact that Secretary Clinton got all of 35% of the vote in West Virginia, are going to vote for her. So I think we're going to have a discussion with those superdelegates. And there's something else we're going to talk about, and that is Secretary Clinton and I disagree on many, many issues, but where we do agree is that it would be a disaster for this country if Donald Trump became president. And the point that I will make to the superdelegates assembled in Philadelphia for the Democratic National Convention is that if you look at virtually all of the polling, nationally and in state polls, Bernie Sanders does much better against Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton does. So if our most important goal is making sure that someone like Trump does not become elected president, I think you are looking at the strongest Democratic candidate. Now, what I have been extremely proud of in this campaign is that we are shaping our ideas, our movement, the fact that over 1 million people have come out, the fact that we have thousands of people out here tonight in Billings. What we are doing is shaping the future of America and the Democratic Party. Our agenda is the future of this country. And what I'm very proud of is that in virtually all of the primaries and caucuses that have taken place up to now, and there have been 42 of them, you know, we've won some and we've lost some, but in almost, not quite every one, but in almost every primary and caucus, we end up winning, and sometimes by a large margin, the votes of younger people, people under 45. And sometimes we win the votes of people under 45 by really very large margins. What does that mean? It means that our vision, a vision of economic justice, of social justice, of racial justice, of environmental justice, That is the vision for the future of our country. And what the leadership of the Democratic Party must understand, and if I'm elected president, I do and will understand, is we have got to open the doors of the Democratic Party to working people and to young people, to their ideas and their energy.